his mind feeling foggy and confused. As the day went on, the fog began to lift, and memory in a small, lively village in West Africa named Kalaya, where the values of family, loyalty, and resilience are held above all, two young sisters began a journey that would test the limits of their bond. Amani and Nia were born to a modest, hard-working couple who lived in a humble home at the edge of the village. Despite their lack of material wealth, the family radiated warmth, love, and unity. Their parents worked hard to provide for them, teaching the girls the importance of kindness, compassion, and perseverance. Amani, the elder sister, was known throughout the village for her serene demeanor, her gentle smile, and the way her presence brought comfort to those around her. She was the type of person who always put others before herself, helping anyone in need. Naya, the younger of the two, was lively, adventurous, and filled with ambition. She adored Amani, often following her around and wanting to be just like her. Together they were inseparable. But fate had other plans. One fateful evening, an illness swept through their village, taking away both of their parents. It started with a fever, subtle at first, but then grew more intense. Their mother, once strong and full of life, grew weaker each day. The sisters watched helplessly as their father tried every remedy he knew, but nothing worked. Amani and Nia were left alone, their world turned upside down in an instant. They sat beside their parents' bedside until their last breath, holding their hands and whispering promises to take care of each other. Their once warm and secure home was now filled with an emptiness that neither of them knew how to fill. Without their parents, Amani and Nia faced a harsh new reality. The village, which once felt like a community, now seemed cold and judgmental. The whispers began almost immediately, suspicious murmurs from their neighbors who looked at the sisters with disdain. "It's strange that only the parents died," they would say. "Maybe those girls had something to do with it." These accusations, unfounded as they were, spread like wildfire. Amani, at just 18, took on the role of both mother and father to Nia. She found work wherever she could, hauling water, tending crops, cleaning houses. Each day was a struggle, but Amani's determination never faltered. She would rise before dawn, her hands cracked and sore from the previous day's labor, and set out to provide for her sister. Her eyes, once bright with youthful dreams, now held a quiet resilience. She would often work long hours under the scorching sun, her muscles aching, but her spirit unbroken. Each night, despite her exhaustion, she would return home and cook a simple meal for Naya, her face softening with a tired but genuine smile as she assured her sister that everything would be okay. Naya, though younger, wanted to help. She collected fruits from the forest, selling them at the marketplace. The gossip and the stares from the villagers hurt her deeply, but she tried her best to ignore them. She would walk through the market, her basket heavy with ripe fruits, her head held high even as she heard the whispers. However, unlike Amani, who seemed to accept their fate with grace, Nia began to feel a bitterness take root in her heart. She hated the way the villagers looked at them, hated the way Amani just endured it all without fighting back. Nia couldn't understand why her sister seemed content to live this way, scraping by day after day with no hope for a better future. Slowly, envy began to creep into Naya's heart. Envy of her sister's strength, her ability to remain calm in the face of hardship. It felt unfair. Why did Amani seem so at peace while Naya felt like she was drowning? Naya watched Amani with growing resentment, the way she would work tirelessly without complaint, the way she always seemed to find something to smile about. It made Nia feel weak, inadequate, and that feeling festered inside her, turning her love for her sister into something darker. One day, a man named Cairo arrived in Kalaya. He was from the city, educated, confident, and possessing a kindness that immediately drew people to him. Cairo had come to the village to learn about traditional farming practices, but he found himself captivated by something far more intriguing: Amani. Cairo first saw Amani working in the fields, her face streaked with dirt, her hair tied back carelessly, her focus entirely on her work. There was something about her, the way she moved, the quiet determination in her eyes, that struck a chord deep within him. He began visiting the fields regularly, offering to help her carry water, bringing her small gifts like fruit or flowers, and spending time just talking to her. For Amani, Cairo was a breath of fresh air. He listened to her, made her laugh, and reminded her of a world outside the boundaries of Kalaya, a world she had almost forgotten. Slowly, a gentle love blossomed between them, a love built on mutual respect and understanding. Cairo admired Amani's strength, her unwavering dedication to her sister, and Amani found comfort in Cairo's warmth and sincerity. He would tell her stories of the city, of tall buildings and bustling streets, of opportunities that seemed endless. Amani would listen with a mixture of awe and longing, her heart aching for something she had never dared to dream of before. Nia, however, watched this budding romance with growing jealousy. She saw how Cairo looked at Amani, how he would bring her gifts and make her smile. It wasn't fair. Nia worked just as hard, endured just as much. Why did Amani get to have love while she was left with nothing? The envy that had once been a small seed in her heart now grew into something darker, more consuming. She would watch them from a distance, her hands clenched into fists, her eyes filled with a bitterness that frightened even herself. She began to withdraw from Amani, her laughter becoming less frequent, her eyes hardening. The warmth that had once defined their relationship began to fade, replaced by a coldness that Amani couldn't understand. The more Nia watched Cairo and Amani together, the more her resentment grew. It twisted inside her, warping her thoughts, until she could no longer see the sister she once adored. All she saw was someone standing in the way of what she deserved. Nia became consumed by the idea that Cairo should have been hers, that she was the one who truly deserved his love. The more Nia watched Cairo and Amani together, the more her resentment grew. It twisted inside her, warping her thoughts, until she could no longer see the sister she once adored. All she saw was someone standing in the way of what she deserved. Nia became consumed by the idea that Cairo should have been hers, that she was the one who truly deserved his love. Desperate to change her fate, Nia sought out Zelda, a woman who lived on the outskirts of Kalaya. Zelda was known for her knowledge of the old ways, charms, potions, and dark magic that most villagers avoided out of fear. Zelda's hut was hidden deep in the forest, a place that many avoided, with herbs hanging from the ceiling and the air thick with the scent of incense. Nia, however, was beyond fear. She was desperate. Zelda listened as Nia poured out her heart, the jealousy, the resentment, the longing. Her voice trembled as she spoke, her eyes filled with a mix of anger and pain. When Nia finished, Zelda gave her a long, measured look before speaking. "There is a way," she said, her voice low and almost hypnotic. "But it comes with a price. Dark magic always does." Nia didn't hesitate. She agreed to whatever price Zelda named, her mind too clouded by envy to consider the consequences. Zelda handed her a small vial filled with a shimmering liquid. "Add this to their food," she instructed. "It will turn Cairo's heart away from Amani. He will see only you." Zelda's eyes bore into Nia's, as if warning her one last time, but Nia was beyond reason. That night, Nia offered to make dinner. She prepared Amani and Cairo's favourite dishes, her hands trembling slightly as she poured the potion into the stew. She watched as they ate, her heart pounding in her chest, waiting for something, anything, to happen. She forced a smile, her eyes darting between them, searching for signs that her plan was working. The guilt gnawed at her, but she pushed it aside, convincing herself that this was the only way she could find happiness. Over the next few days, Nia began to see the effects of the potion. Cairo, once so gentle and loving towards Amani, began to grow distant. He would snap at her over the smallest things, his gaze cold where it had once been warm. Amani was heartbroken, confused by the sudden change in the man she loved. She tried to reach out to him, to understand what had gone wrong, but Cairo pushed her away. He would look at her with eyes that seemed to see someone else entirely, his words laced with an anger that cut Amani to her core. The arguments became more frequent, more intense, until one day, in a fit of rage, Cairo accused Amani of things she had never done. His voice was loud, echoing through the small house as he hurled accusations at her, his face twisted in anger. Amani, overwhelmed by the pain and stress, collapsed, losing the child she had been secretly carrying. The grief was too much to bear, and with tears streaming down her face, Amani packed her things and left the home she had built with Cairo, returning to the village with a heart heavy with sorrow. She walked away without looking back, her vision blurred by tears, her steps heavy as if the weight of her shattered dreams was dragging her down. Nia watched it all unfold with a mixture of triumph and guilt. She had gotten what she wanted. Cairo was no longer with Amani, but instead of the joy she had expected, all she felt was a hollow emptiness. She moved into Cairo's house, taking over the responsibilities Amani had once shouldered. She cooked, she cleaned, she tried to make Cairo happy, but it was never enough. The love she had imagined was nothing like the reality she now faced. With Amani gone, Nia moved into Cairo's life, taking over the duties that her sister had once performed. She cooked for him, cleaned, and tried to be the partner she believed he needed. At first, it seemed to work. Cairo, still under the influence of the potion, began to see Nia in a different light. He spoke to her kindly, even smiled at her from time to time. But it wasn't the deep, genuine love that Nia had seen him share with Amani. It was empty, forced, and Nia could feel it. The nights were the worst. When the village was quiet and the stars filled the sky, Nia would lie awake, the silence pressing down on her. She had thought that being with Cairo would fill the void inside her, but instead it only made it deeper. She realized, too late, that love taken by force could never bring true happiness. She watched Cairo as he slept, his face peaceful, and wondered if he ever dreamed of Amani. The thought twisted in her heart, a painful reminder that she could never truly replace her sister. Nia tried to push these thoughts away, tried to convince herself that things would get better with time. But as the days turned into weeks, the emptiness only grew. She found herself missing Amani, missing the laughter they used to share, the warmth of her sister's embrace. She had wanted Cairo's love, but in her pursuit of it, she had lost the one person who had always been there for her. Meanwhile, Amani, heartbroken and lost, sought refuge with Nala, an elder in the village known for her wisdom and her connection to the spiritual world. Nala had always been kind to Amani, offering her guidance when she needed it most. When Amani arrived at her doorstep, her face pale and her eyes filled with tears, Nala welcomed her in, without hesitation. Amani told Nala everything, the love she had found with Cairo, the sudden change in him, and the pain of losing her child. Nala listened in silence, her eyes filled with empathy. She could see the toll it had taken on Amani, the way her shoulders slumped under the weight of her grief, the way her eyes no longer held the light they once did. When Amani finished, Nala took her hands in hers and spoke softly. "There is a darkness here, child. I can feel it. Someone has used dark magic to tear apart what was meant to be, but magic can be undone if your heart is strong enough." Amani, though weary, felt a spark of hope. She agreed to undergo the ritual, her heart set on freeing Cairo from whatever had taken hold of him. Together, she and Nala gathered the herbs and prepared for the cleansing ritual. The ceremony was intense, filled with ancient chants and smoke that filled the small room. Nala moved with purpose, her voice steady as she recited the old words, her hands deftly mixing the herbs. Amani closed her eyes, focusing on her love for Cairo, her desire to set things right. As the ritual reached its peak, Amani felt a weight lift from her shoulders, a sense of clarity washing over her. She knew deep down that she had done everything she could. Now, it was up to Cairo. She looked to Nala, who gave her a reassuring nod, her eyes filled with pride for the strength Amani had shown. The next morning, Cairo awoke with a splitting headache, his mind feeling foggy and confused. As the day went on, the fog began to lift, and memories that had seemed distant and blurred suddenly came rushing back. He remembered the love he had shared with Amani, the warmth of her smile, the way her laughter had filled their home. He also remembered the anger, the arguments, and the way he had pushed her away. Cairo looked around, realizing with a sinking heart that Amani was gone, and in her place was Naya. Confused and filled with regret, Cairo confronted Naya, demanding to know what had happened. Naya, cornered and terrified, tried to lie, but the truth was written all over her face. Cairo, his heart heavy with anger and guilt, knew he had to find Amani and make things right. He left the house without another word, his heart pounding as he made his way to Nala's home. He knew he had wronged Amani in ways that might never be forgiven, but he had to try. He had to let her know that he remembered, that he was sorry, and that he still loved her with every part of his being. Cairo found Amani at Nala's home, her eyes red from crying but her spirit unbroken. He fell to his knees before her, tears streaming down his face as he begged for her forgiveness. "Amani," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion, "I was wrong. I let darkness control me, and I hurt you in ways I can never take back. Please, if there is any part of you that can forgive me, I beg you to let me try to make this right." Amani looked at him for a long moment, her heart torn between the love she still felt for him and the pain of his betrayal. Slowly, she knelt down beside him, her hand resting gently on his cheek. "Cairo," she said softly, "what's done is done. I cannot forget what happened, but I can forgive. If we are to move forward, we must do so together with honesty and love." Cairo nodded, his heart swelling with hope. Together they returned to confront Naya, who, with tears streaming down her face, confessed everything: her jealousy, her desperation, and the terrible choices she had made. Amani, though hurt, looked at her sister with compassion. "Nia," she said, her voice trembling, "you were my sister before all of this, and you are still my sister now. But trust, once broken, takes time to heal. You must find your own path, just as I have found mine." Naya sobbed, her heart breaking at the realization of what she had done. She had lost her sister, her best friend, all because of her own jealousy and greed. She nodded, her shoulders shaking as she wiped her tears, knowing that she had a long road ahead to earn back even a fraction of the trust she had shattered. The tale of Amani and Nia serves as a poignant reminder of the destructive power of jealousy and the strength found in forgiveness. Through hardship and betrayal, Amani found resilience, and Cairo, humbled by his mistakes, found redemption. Naya's story is a tragic testament to the dangers of envy and the heavy price one pays for trying to take what does not belong to them. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of love, betrayal, and resilience. What would you have done in Amani's place? Could you forgive such a deep betrayal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you for watching African Tales Best, where every story holds a lesson and every lesson leaves a mark.